Okay, take two. So I'm going to try and share my story and not make it too long. So anyway, my name is Karen. I'm a wife. My husband is retired Navy. I'm a mom of four. They are 27, 24, 20, and I have a 12-year-old, three boys, and my youngest is a girl. I have three grandkids. They are eight, 6, and 1.5. And I am a Zumba instructor, a licensed Zumba instructor, and I am a Beachbody coach, which is a health and fitness coach. And I focus more on the nutrition side. I do a lot of fitness. I'm like heavy into fitness. I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie these days. So anyway, I was born in 1971 at like 7 pounds, some ounces, and from that point on, boom, 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 gained lots of weight. I remember as young as 4 or 5 years old being called Fat Cat by my mom's second husband. Kindergarten started being made fun of. We moved around quite a bit. My mom went through a couple. She was married to the second husband, who was quite ugly to me, and then divorced him, and we moved around a couple times anyway. So, couple different schools with kids who were mean to me, calling me fat. The first time I remember a weight was in junior high school. I stepped on a scale in a PE class, and the hush went over the room, and it was the coach, who was the PE teacher, had a clipboard, and he takes his pencil out, and he goes, 186. And there was this roaring laughter over the room. And I was already very insecure, being made fun of, being teased. And I think that was about seventh grade, so I was probably about 13 years old. And from that point, it just got bigger. And at that point, I would go home every day and cry because I was being made fun of so bad in school. In high school, in junior high school and in high school, I was in band, so I did have a kind of safe haven in band, even though I had some very mean friends in band that made fun of me and pushed me around. But I did have a few friends that were my safe haven in band. But I would go home from school and cry and eat, emotional eating from uh, being made fun of. My mom said that she didn't take food away from me because she felt bad because I was a kid. So anyway, high school, I was up 200 pounds. I got pregnant with my first child when the summer of between 11th and 12th grade, and I had him April of my senior year. And when I had him, I weighed 272 pounds. After giving birth, I got down to 220 pounds, and I felt great. I thought, woo, I look good at 220 pounds. And I met my husband right before my son turned a year old. And so I was like 210, 220. And when I got married, I was still maintaining at 210, 220 and felt great. Got pregnant, and I was playing softball and stayed pretty healthy. And I was 217 when I had him. And then after that, I started gaining weight for some reason. I don't know. I was pigging out. And I know, I started cosmetology school. Lots of food comes to cosmetology schools. And then I got pregnant with my third child, and I thought he was going to be the last one. Had some issues in my marriage, went into a deep depression. We moved away from our home. The military sent us to South Carolina. So I was having marital issues. I was moved away from home and pregnant with my third child. So I was heavily depressed, eating, eating, eating. When I had my third son, I was 272 or 273 pounds. I went into massive postpartum depression, depressed from not being at home near my mom, and still recovering from the marital issues. And I gained up to 325 pounds after having my son. So lived in South Carolina, came back home after that because where we live is home of the world's largest naval base. So of course we always end up back here or back there. I'm in Florida right now at my mother-in-law's house. So I got back, and I don't know what, I looked in the mirror one day and I thought, who am I? This isn't me. And my husband deployed shortly after we moved back. And I started walking and started lowering calories. restricting calories. And I lost down to 220 pounds. And once again, I thought, oh, I'm great at 220 pounds. And I had some massive skin issues. And so in 2003, I had a tummy tuck and a breast reduction. And after that, I started gaining some weight back. And I had a child after the breast reduction. It's crazy, yeah. Okay, so that's what happened. I had the tummy tuck, and I thought I was hot stuff, baby. And then I had the breast reduction in 2004. Got pregnant with my daughter. Surprise! And I weighed another 272 pounds when I had her. And then after her in 2006, I joined Curves for Women. Got down to my lowest weight as an adult ever, 186 pounds. And I also did this 3-hour diet where you eat every 3 hours, and the calories were, I think, 1,400 calories, where you ate 400 calories for breakfast, 100 calorie snack, 400 calories for lunch, 100 calorie snack, 400 calories for dinner. But basically, I was feeding my body all the time, and I was hungry all the time. And I maintained that weight for a little while. Working at Curves, I was working out those 30-minute workouts once a day, and then it got to where I had to work out twice a day to maintain it. So then in 2008, my dad passed away, and I started emotional eating. All the food from the funeral came back to my house, and chocolate cake and pecan pies and cakes, and it started. The sugar addiction, the sugar dragon attacked, and I started eating and eating and eating, and I ended up back at, I believe my high weight then was 285, 290. So one day in 2011, I was approaching 40, and I looked at my daughter, who at the time was, 6 or 7 years old. And I looked at her and I thought, she deserves better than this lazy, heavy-set mom who has no energy to get on the floor and play with her. And I think all my kids know my oldest son was not living at home anymore. And I think that my grandson was a baby at the time. And I just realized that I had to permanently take care of the issue. And I had had a doctor tell me before, Mrs. Horn, you need to have gastric bypass surgery because you have a slow metabolism and blah, 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 blah. So I went to my primary care doctor, I got the referral, and I went to the Navy, and I was going to have gastric sleeve. And after listening to their whole spiel about the sleeve and the bypass, I decided the bypass was going to be the permanent solution. But I had a different mindset than most people. This was going to be permanent. I was not going to have this surgery and play around. So I had gastric bypass surgery in May of 2012. I don't want to say that I regret it because I wouldn't be where I am now if I had not had the surgery. However, I do beg and plead with people to not have gastric bypass surgery because it's changed the inside of my body permanently, and I can never go back and repair it. It was a miserable. It still is miserable at times, but you change your body permanently, and you can't fix it. And God made our bodies to work perfectly, and I wish I had met my coach prior so that I would not have done it. And I am coaching people now who were as big as I was and bigger, and they are losing the weight naturally, and they are healthy and getting fit. So I'm going to tell you, I had gastric bypass surgery. I lost the weight, but I was miserable for 4 years. I couldn't eat good food. I got to the point where all I could eat was crackers and peanut butter. I was severely malnourished, and I had malabsorption issues. So in February of 2016, I was watching my coach now, who is a dance fitness instructor and has lots and lots of followers who love her choreography. And she was in a grocery store talking about nutrition and how nutrition, because I ended up being diagnosed with MS also. But I have IBS and reflux, and I had just had my thyroid out, and I had all these issues. And she was talking about how food could help with um, autoimmune disorders. And so I contacted her and I was like, hey, this is what's going on with me. And she's like, oh my gosh, girl, you need to do this. You need to get on. And so I talked to my husband about the financial issue because it was $160 to get started. And he said, well, then you need to find the money in our budget. And so I was like, okay, well, we're not going to eat out for 2 weekends. And that's what we did, bought the package. Shakeology came, the nutrition plan, the fitness program. And as a Zumba, I was doing Zumba several days a week. And that's what I was doing, Zumba and walking. Well, I started the fitness and nutrition and Shakeology. And like 30 days later, I was like, well, heck yeah, this is amazing. My body's changed. I feel better. I have energy. And then I think 2 months later, I saw my doctor and he did MRI scans on the MS, has lesions. And he had to ask his nurse, he was like, where's Mrs. Horn's, scans here? She says, those are Mrs. Horn's scans. And he looked at me and he said, you're in remission. And I had just been diagnosed within the last 6 months to a year. And he's like, what are you doing? And I told him about the nutrition that I'm doing and the Shakeology that I'm drinking. And he was floored. He said he'd never seen anybody go into remission so quickly. Also, my cholesterol, my primary care doctor tells me that my cholesterol, the HDL, which is the healthy HDL, is quote unquote the highest damn HDL she's ever seen in a patient. And it's because of the way that I eat. When I started this, I had gained some weight back and I was back up into the 160, 165 range. I got down to 135 and I maintained somewhere between 135 and 145. But now I really don't focus on a weight. I focus on how my clothes feel, how my body feels, and how I look. Before, when I was down into the 130, 135, before I started doing this, I was way too skinny and my cheeks were sunk in. And right here was like really skinny, and people would tell me, oh, you're too thin, you're too thin. Now I focus on sculpting and toning and looking more healthy and I think that's very important for my daughter to see because it's not about being skinny and your hip bone sticking out and that thigh gap. It's about being healthy and fit. And it's more about what's going on inside your body, inside your stomach and your gut and your brain and being healthy and being focused and having energy. So, you know, my why these days, it was to, well, it still is, so that my daughter has a good role model, and it's it's really been a trickle down. My older kids have joined me. My oldest son, my middle son, my youngest son, and he started living on his own, and he does buy some good groceries, but there's still, he's like, oh, I'm living on a budget, mom. My daughter eats what we eat. She loves it. She even talks to her friends about, oh, you shouldn't be eating that. And then it's trickled down to so many of my friends, and that's really what it's all about. Is I really want to help people get healthy. It's not about a number on a scale. It's not about a size 6 or whatever. It's about getting you completely healthy, heart health, blood pressure, diabetes. My husband was diagnosed with diabetes. He had an 11.5, I think it was, hemoglobin, and now the last time it was a 6.4. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. These programs, I've been doing this for 14 months. I have people in my group. I'm changing their lives, and that's my why now, is to help other people while I walk on my journey, walking side by side with them on their journey, to just get fit and healthy together. And it's every day is a struggle. I'm not perfect. And I would say nobody is. My challengers, sometimes they come in and they're like, man, my family wanted, 5 guys, and they had 5 guys. And I'm like, okay, and I'm not going to judge. Sometimes I haven't had fast food in like 2 years because of the way it makes me feel. But, I'm not going to judge somebody because they have fast food one night, but what, the next day we're going to get up and we're going to eat better and be clean. But that's my story. That's like the end of the road. I stay active and I stay fit because I don't ever want to go back to that 325-pound lazy mom. I want to be a good example for my daughter. I want to be fit. I want to be healthy. And, we never know when our last day on this earth is going to be, but I want to take each day that I have and live it and try to help people while I'm here. And so I'm going to go and try enjoy this gorgeous day in Florida. So if you guys want to, talk to me, if you need some help with your health, your fitness goals, please feel free. You can email me at Karen Cutts, KarenCuts 39 at cox.net, cox.net. I'm also on Facebook. I think that's Karen Washburn Horn, or you can find my fitness page. I think it's just Karen Horn with no E on the end. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great day.